All right, let's talk about Bo Nix, who realistically should have, the story should have been, wow, how did Bo Nix and the Broncos manage to finally beat a team to beat the Kansas City Chiefs? Of course, a missed field goal at the end, or a blocked field goal at the end, I should say, allows the Chiefs to win. But let's talk about Bo Nix. Had a very good first half, was able to get the Broncos up relatively big. The Broncos do not score in the second half. They did have a couple missed field goals in this game as well, but what happened? What went right and wrong for the Broncos? Let's get into it. I would say this first play is exactly what I like about Bo Nix and what the Broncos like about Bo Nix. This is why they drafted him when they did. So it's going to be a play action, and usually the more over-the-middle route, that's what you look towards. That's the play that can work. That's what you want when you run to play action. You're getting Kansas City players out of the area, so sure, makes sense. Nix takes the snap. He's reading this play. He isn't even fully in position to make this throw quite yet, but what does he notice? This is well covered. Again, Kansas City definitely can cover very well at times. They're not giving up much right here, so if Nix makes this throw, it's honestly just as likely to end up as an interception as it is a catch. Nix, again, a lot of young quarterbacks would still throw it anyway. Nick's smart enough not to make that mistake. But this is especially what I like about Bo Nix, is watch what he does from here, because he's already looking towards the top of the screen. There is a receiver just a little bit further towards the top of the screen who is open. Nix quickly gets over to that read and still makes the throw. Listen, it doesn't go for many yards, only a couple yards, right? So who cares? It's not that big of a deal. But to me, it kind of goes to show the mindset that Nix has, and it's all about getting the little plays and making the little plays work. Sure, this isn't the end-all be-all, this isn't a huge deal, but who knows? Maybe you could have broken a tackle and gotten a big gain, and still, gaining 2 yards is better than gaining 0, right? These little things do add up. Heading over to something like this, I would say this is an area that I would say he's mostly good at, although there are some negatives as well. I'm going to show an example of both a positive and a negative that he can have. So first, this play, it looks to be a design, I think it might be a design play action, or maybe it's a handoff, I'm not exactly sure. However, you see Nix, he fumbles the snap and is kind of immediately in what do I do mode. There are now Kansas City players right in his area, which maybe leads to this being a designed handoff, but he's in trouble. What do you do in this situation? Well, he actually does a really smart thing here. Watch him turn it around and just throws it forward at a receiver's feet. It's an incomplete pass. That's just smart football, making sure it's not a fumble. He threw it forward, so you're minimizing damage. And that's something that is really important when it comes to young quarterbacks, is knowing how to minimize damage. However, as I said, he is a bit inconsistent at this. Again, he's a young quarterback. You honestly expect him to be bad at it. The fact that he's I would say mostly pretty good at it is a massive plus. But there was this play, which I didn't love, so it's going to be kind of a similar idea. Watch how when Nix takes a snap, it's a 1st down and 10, and there is pressure getting through to Bo Nix. So, okay, not ideal situation here, but you're okay. You're pretty much outside the tackle box. Really, if Nix wants to just take a couple steps up and fire this one, as long as you get it past the line of scrimmage, just fire it out of bounds, and you're good to go. Instead, Bo Nix really he just takes the sack right there, which is just not smart. For one thing, that was a huge sack. That was a loss of 17. So now it's 2nd and 27. You're not converting that. You basically just killed the drive right there. So that was a mistake by Bo Nix. It just was. In fact, part of how the Kansas City Chiefs were able to get back in this game and shut down the Broncos offense in the second half, for the most part, again, they did nearly have a game-winning field goal drive at the end, but part of what they were able to do was they were running a lot of these blitzes, and quite frankly, the blitzes were working. Watch how when this play begins. This is not great offense here by the Broncos. You see there are 3 offensive linemen blocking 1 Kansas City player, and then there's 2 Kansas City players getting through untouched. They also have a double team towards the top of the screen, so not exactly how you want to set your protection. Again, Steve Spagnuolo, he confuses even the best of teams. It happens, but I still say, the 3rd down and 9, I don't know if this was a smart decision by Bo Nix. Watch him really just fire one up, and luckily for him, I guess no one really read that play when it was in the air, because had one of his teammates read it, maybe you get the completion, but had a Kansas City player read it, then you're in trouble. Then you can get the interception, and that would have really been bad when they're up a point in the 4th quarter. You could argue this is just as much a team failure as it is a Nix failure, but again, this is a play I didn't think was great by him, and really Kansas City was able to have success once they started doing this stuff. And also, while we're doing the negatives, there were a couple missed throws as well. Not a ton. These were the two main ones, and that one even looked like right here. He might have just expected his receiver to continue running. So again, who do you want to blame on that one? I'll let you be the judge, because definitely the receiver stopped. He kept throwing it. So calling it a missed throw is probably the wrong term, but a miscommunication, something you want to clean up. This one, though, just was a missed throw in a key spot, too, because you see, I mean, really not a competitive ball there. Again, it was tight coverage, so maybe it wouldn't have been complete either way, but you'd have loved to give your receiver a chance, because if they did and they were able to connect, that would have made it a much easier field goal. Well, let's miss the 60-yarder, but maybe if that was a 50-yarder or even, a 45-yarder, do they then convert on this and do the Broncos go up a clean 7 instead of just up 4, which they ultimately weren't able to hold on to? Of course, the whole game changes if, it's not so simple to say if they got those 3 points, they would have won. Everything changes. But still, some of these plays you would have liked to have for sure. But again, I don't want this to make this seem like this was a bad Bo Nix performance. There's things he has to work on for sure, but this was a good performance. Like, for example, this play was a really strong one, I thought. It's a 3rd down and 1 situation. You have Courtland Sutton, a one-on-one matchup against Trent McDuffie, who is one of the better, he's an all-pro, right? Really good corner for Kansas City. However, when Nix takes the snap, it's a 3rd down and 1. I wonder if the Kansas City Chiefs just weren't ready for this, but at the same time, McDuffie's on the outside. He's ready for it, right? As of right here, though, it's wide open. This is a dominant route by Sutton. But also, this is an amazing throw by Nix on top of it. Because of that, they're able to pick up a touchdown. That's a great play. And being able to hit on these types of plays can change football games. That puts you up 14-3. They didn't score again this game, right? But this gave you enough of a lead to where they were able to nearly ultimately win, because if you can hit on a couple of these plays, it just changes everything. And also, even in the second half, I thought they moved the ball all right. Again, they made too many mistakes on key plays, but something like this, it's a 3rd down and 4 situation. You're going to see that, again, find a matchup you like. It's man coverage that the Chiefs are in. It's Devon Vele who's going to be running the route you see on the screen, this quick slant route, and watch what happens. Nix is going to take the snap. He looks in Vele's direction, is able to make that throw. Really well timed, gets it there quickly, good route. A lot of the simple stuff, right? And that's part of why I feel like I do this thing every time I make a Bo Nix video where I'll be mostly positive about his performance, but then end up with more negative plays than positive ones. I think the issue is this is a positive play. He just does this consistently, right? So it's when you make a film study, usually the way I do it is I want to show a bunch of different things. So I usually, if there's one good play, I just let that be the example. But I'll tell you verbally, there are a lot more than just one of these types of plays. He does this pretty consistently. So yeah, again, for a rookie quarterback, he's playing amazing. For a quarterback in general, he's still playing pretty well. Things he has to clean up, but he is cleaning those things up as well. So, mostly good performance, even though, they did ultimately lose and they did get shut out in the second half. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.